What's up, guys? Skippy Africanus here, and just recently I heard news of a new gun coming to market. Not just any gun, mind you, a clone of the Mp38. And not just a clone of the Mp38, but a damn close replica of one. Now, I'm not much of an MP40 fan myself. I'm more of like a PPS-43 kind of guy. Which, by the way, little caveat, you're going to be noticing that I use MP40 and MP38 like interchangeably, or at least that is what I'm doing if you don't know. So do note that we are specifically talking about a clone of the Mp38 and not actually the MP40, but I will call it MP40 from time to time in this video. Why will I do that, you may ask? Because I feel like it. Anyways, though, as mentioned, yeah, I'm not the biggest of MP40/38/ guns that look like this kind of guy, and I do blame that 100% on the, like, oversaturation of this gun in games. And back in the day, this gun was, like, just the staple. Like, you saw the same guns over and over and really didn't get to see anything too different. Like, I started off on Call of Duty Finest Hour, as well as the various other old World War II games, like the old Medal of Honors and stuff. And, you know, seeing and using them, like, in the various games just kind of took away from the gun's glimmer. Same actually applies to the Kar 98Ks for that matter. I'm not that big of a fan on those ones. However, that being said, I still did think it was neat to see a company attempting to bring these back, and while I prefer other subguns, I would not mind picking one of these up in the slightest. Assuming, of course, it comes at an affordable price, that is. We'll get more into what they want to sell these for later, but let's talk about the gun itself. Now, I won't call it a one-to-one clone, as I can be rather picky with my terminology, and while it does feature many things the original one also had, like, it's of course not full auto, obviously, it doesn't even run for an open bolt, again, obviously, and you know, no complaints there, like, you aren't allowed to make that shit, and if you were allowed to make it, I imagine that they would have made it, with either, you know, the full auto or the open bolt, but, you know, as said, you can't do that, so we gotta settle for a closed bolt semi-auto. Add to this, the addition of a cross bolt safety, as well as the removal of the front safety, kind of takes away from the one-to-one replica. Again, no complaints here, I just wanted to point that out. Like, I'm fairly lax with realism in, like, a lot of these replica guns, and honestly, as long as it shares the look, I'll happily, like, deal with it. And one thing I do want to add is, that I do think it is real neat that they did go with the Mp38 as opposed to the Mp40. They look cool and are very similar to one another, with much of the Mp40's design features chosen solely to cheapen cost. But anyways, not to get too off topic of what we were talking about, but all things considered, with what I had mentioned as being not original to the original gun, a lot of the other stuff is. Things like the bolt, all the way down to adding some original markings to the gun. All in all, like, though I wouldn't call it a one-to-one replica myself, it is pretty damn close to one, about as close as you can get. And then, of course, to further add, unlike a lot of the other repos that have hit the market, in fact, a couple Mp40s for that matter, this one appears to actually work, which is obviously one of the most important features, looks aside. Now, all that being said, these look like great guns. They look like they run well, they look like they're built nice and all that, all the really important stuff, but there does lie one problem with this gun. And as mentioned, it isn't with quality or function. Hypothetically, that is, these things might actually turn out to be utter shit once they're actually released, but as it stands, they look like they run fine. But the one major problem is price. When I had first heard about these guns, I watched some videos on them, of course, just to check them out, and as mentioned, I'm not the biggest Mp38, Mp40, what have you fan. But you know what, if the price was right, and to be honest, I'd be spending I'd be willing to spend $1,500 on one, but if the price was right, you know, within that range, I was still interested in picking one of these up. And mainly just to have something fun to run in a PCC match. I mean, it's always cool to have something where, you know, everyone just turns around and looks and goes, yo, what the fuck is that? Anyhow, all that being said, I go to look up the gun to see what they're actually running for, and I, of course, already knew that I would need to drop another 200 bucks, as I would be making this shit in SPR. I'm not even gonna play around with having no stock on this shit. I mean, some people don't want to pay that $200 and they're content with just a pistol. Me, I don't mind, especially considering folding stocks are fucking cool, so I won't say I'll gladly pay the $200, but it's something I'll definitely do because, again, lift folder stuff. Anyhow, I go to check out the gun and see how much my wallet was gonna hate me afterwards. $4,500 fucking dollars. Now, okay, this might sound weird, but I'm not even gonna complain about this price tag. Like, I complain on the Beretta PMX being like around $1,450, but in my mind, these two, like this and the PMX, it's two different markets, to be honest. And while the PMX, I think, is a completely stupid design, the Mp40 was already around before, and there's plenty of people that want replicas of them. So I understand the Mp40, you know, coming in if it was like $1,450, maybe even $2,000. But when I saw that $4,500 price tag, you know, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, yeah, this thing's gonna flop. There ain't no way that this thing is going to stay around for too long. So if you do want one and you have the money willing to spend it, you best get it quick, because this is not the first gun to come out with a price tag like this, you know, and then disappears in about 5 seconds. Which again, the sad reality is I fully understand why these guns are going for this much. Like, this isn't a PCC converted from a sub gun, like, currently being sold by a massive company. It appears a lot of, like, at least these ones are made by fairly small shop operations. So, you know, getting the tooling set up and all that, it racks up bills real fast, and this price tag, honestly, as I mentioned, has been very common with people trying to make repos of, like, other popular World War II guns, which I don't recall the names of the companies, but throughout the years, you did have guys trying to make stuff like Volkssturmgewehrs, Sturmgewehr 44s and 45s, and they would carry a price tag pretty much identical to this. Like, it's not uncommon, and from what I see, not unreasonable. I mean, it just comes with the territory with these types of guns, and I'd be willing to bet that even with this price tag, they still wouldn't be making that much profit off the guns in general. So while I'll say it's disappointing that they are, like, you know, priced so high, it's more of a damn, I ain't getting that shit now, as opposed to being disappointed at the company themselves. Unlike Beretta. So while I'm certain many of my viewers may have seen, like, the recommendations of videos on this gun coming to market, it's not really that much to get excited for, to be honest. That being said, one thing I do want to add to this, though, is given this high price tag, I'm curious on what the point of even having the non-SBR variant is. Like, the $200 isn't shit compared to the price of the actual gun itself. Like, these things carry that, you know, dead in the water type of price tag. I mean, they're gonna fizzle out pretty damn fast, which is a common occurrence with reproductions of this nature. It's a sad reality. And honestly, if I were personally wanting one of these bad enough to pay the $4,500, an extra $200 to add the classic folding stock is really nothing at that point. And plus, it's not like the SBR paperwork is difficult, nor is the current wait time very long. Like, I had to file for a stamp for this 458 SOCOM SBR, and I only had to wait like 2 weeks for it. Hell, I've been eyeing up TPS 43s lately that are around the $600 to $800 price tag range, and you can bet your ass if I grab one of those, I'm filing for another tax stamp to get that folder back in action. I mean, maybe it's just me, but like, I think it's weird that for such a high price tag, you wouldn't just want the SBR version anyways, you know, have a working stock on it and all that. I mean, again, $4,500 plus an extra $200, you know, I don't see what the point of the pistol version even is at that point. But anyways, I think that is gonna do it for this short little video on the MP38 clone coming to market. As mentioned, I'm not the biggest of MP40 fans, but I figured some of you guys might be and would like to hear a little bit about this gun. Because despite the price tag, you do gotta admit, making an MP38 that's as close to the original as one is pretty damn cool. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed the video as much as I personally enjoyed making it, and I will see y'all next time.